Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's Anime Talk. I'll go over some of the most recent anime I've been watching. For this video, I'll be looking at the new Netflix anime movie, Drifting Home. But before I get into that, I uploaded a review for House of the Dragon Episode 5, so if you're interested, go give that a watch. And also make sure to like, subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. Okay, so I'll start off by getting into some of the plot. Kosuke and his classmates are finishing school for summer break. Unfortunately, he and his childhood friend, Natsume, haven't been speaking lately, so he runs off frustrated. Near to where he lives is his old apartment block, which is set to be knocked down. Before that happens, Kosuke and his friends, Taichi and Yuzuru, explore them in search of a ghost. While searching, they find Natsume asleep in a closet. All four go to the roof and are spotted by their classmates Reina and Juri. After an argument breaks out, Natsume slips off the roof, which Kosuke ends up jumping to save her. Suddenly, they are covered in rain, and when they come to, they and the building are on an ocean. So this was crazy. So she slips off of like a chimney bit, and it all goes into slow motion, and then it's almost like a sheet of rain covers them, and then it all blacks out almost, and they wake up, and the building is separated in a literal sea of water just everywhere, and there's nothing to be seen, and everyone's in complete shock. They try to come up with solutions, but nothing works. So they even put like SOS signs on the roof of the building, but obviously they've seen no one, so it's not really going to help anyway. While searching, they find another kid, Noppo, Natsume's friend, who they think is a ghost, but are not too sure. So basically, when they originally got to the building, Natsume mentioned Noppo, and he was a friend that lived there. And they're like, oh, I bet he's a ghost or something. And the way he walks around when he first meets them here, he walks around like a creepy ghost because he's a lot taller than them. And they just keep running around screaming like, oh, there's a ghost. It's really quite cool. And then they all calm down and then meet him properly. Over the next few days, they ration what food they've found and watch for signs of life. So they basically see nothing. There's no like birds or anything. They occasionally see like other buildings floating off in the distance, but no signs of life there either. They're kind of just out on their own and no one to help them. Arguments start and tempers fray, and friendships are tested. So basically, one of the girls, Reina, she's either blaming Natsume for it all because Natsume thinks she did it, but then Noppo says, oh, I think it might have been me, and she's just getting angry because they can't do anything, and they're basically stuck there, and she's trying to find a solution, but Reina's just kind of desperate to cling to something, and I think blaming Natsume is her way of rationalising everything, because obviously it makes no sense, but that's the way she wants to think about it. One day, they search another drifting building for food, an old indoor swimming pool. So basically this other little building slowly drifts by them, and Kyosuke goes and checks it, and it's literally a swimming pool. They can't find any food, but then Natsume joins him, and they find an old vending machine but can't break it. But then suddenly, a backpack appears and it's got food in it. You'll come to understand how that ended up there later in the film. But they've got some rations now, because at this point they basically had nothing. I think it was like little crisps they had, or chips if you're American. But yeah, that's all they had left, and even these few bits of food will keep them going for a good day or so. On one day, Noppo starts to grow plants, meaning he isn't entirely human. So I think it's Kyosuke sees him and he's like itching at his arm, and then Noppo shows everyone it's like all like moss and little twigs coming out of him, and this is the point where I started to guess that he was possibly part of the building, but I wasn't sure at this point, so I had to wait further on to get a definitive answer, because I was like, that could be the answer we're looking for. Another building appears and they search, but things escalate, with multiple buildings crashing together. So they go and check this other building, which I think was a department store. There's no food, but then it's interesting because Natsume starts to remember things while she was there when she used to go to this place, and blue lights start to pop up everywhere, and you're like, what is this? And it seems to be coming out of the ocean. So it's either memories or something, or emotions, but then all these buildings start coming out of nowhere and crashing and destroying each other, and it gets intense. Juri falls off the roof, but Natsume saves her. But Juri hits her head, making her go unconscious. And at this point, she is bleeding really badly from the head. At this point, you could assume she might die because of how bad and how much blood was coming out of her head. But they wrap her up, and then they obviously place her in a safe spot. and watch over her, but it was bad. It was not good for them. With things getting worse, tempers flare even more often. So obviously because her friend's injured, the building's coming apart, Noppo isn't what he seems. They've been lost for over a week now. I think it was 9 days. And they are run out of options. They've got nothing they can do because they can't find food, they can't contact anyone, and they're just lost, and there's no way to get home. The buildings start to fall apart, so they plan to leave, but since she can't let go of the past, Natsume stays. So they build a makeshift boat out of tubs and stuff, but because of what's gone on in Natsume's life, she jumps off of that and stays with Noppo, because Noppo is basically falling apart at this point and almost like becoming the building, and everyone basically can't get her because the sea takes the building away, so they're all separated. It's shown Noppo is the soul of the building. So we actually see other like individuals that are supposedly like souls of buildings. Like this one girl they meet is the soul of a Ferris wheel. At the end of the movie, we meet souls of other buildings. Like they've grown and become attached to these people that visited them over the years, and they've grown these personalities and these memories, which is what the blue lights are. They're the memories of the buildings, and it's really sweet because they feel connected to these people that they've been with for so many years, just like another person would. When Noppo and Natsume are trapped, Kosuke comes back on a drifting Ferris wheel, saving them and the building. So they tie up the building to the Ferris wheel and it kind of drags them along. They have a couple of scary moments where they almost come off, but they just about hold together. Almost home, they say goodbye to Noppo and return. So basically Noppo goes to his, like, it's almost like the afterlife for buildings, and that's where he now stays, and he sends our group off back home. Everything is back to normal, and Kosuke and Natsume's family spend more time together. So Natsume reunites with her mum, and they come a bit closer because she's had a rough family life. But I think now that she's home, she realises that her mum means a lot to her. And obviously, because Kosuke and Natsume have been childhood friends for so long, they start to spend more time together. This was a really lovely story. I loved how at the start of the movie, like they're kind of two separate groups, but then by the end of the movie, they've all come together. They're all friends, and they all love each other really. So Natsume has a tragic backstory, but Kyosuke and his grandfather brought a light back to it. So it's really lovely that the grandfather almost brought Natsume into the family and treated her just as another grandchild. And it's lovely because Natsume didn't have a proper family life, and Kyosuke's grandfather gave her that, and it's really sweet. The complicated relationship between Kyosuke and Natsume, so Kyosuke he obviously thought of her as family, but he didn't really think of her as that close, but over the course of the story he realises that he's being insensitive and realises that she's just as much part of the family as anyone. The whole group was awesome. I love the little characters, like I think it was Taishi's the rather energetic footballer, and Yuzuru was the like bulky character. He's a big muscle that can help everyone, and I think they fitted all really well together. Like Reina and Juri, they were a nice little double set of characters, and I think they all worked out really well together. And they're all friends in the end, and they mixed well as a friend group. The building souls as characters, like Noppo, was really cool. I thought it gave a good twist to the like, oh, these buildings aren't just inanimate objects. They have life. They have memories. People love these places, and they've had their lives there. Like Natsume and Kyosuke, they spent so much of their lives in these buildings. They mean so much to them. So the souls of the buildings, they're important because obviously they have all the same memories. They've shared everything with them. They've spent their lives together, basically. The reconciliation and acceptance at the end was sad but happy. So at the end, Natsume and Noppo, they finally come to understand that they have to move on. They can't stand in the past anymore, and they have to accept that one, the grandfather died, and two, that the building is going to be knocked down. But they can move forward and remember those happy moments in their lives. So this so much made me cry. Because you see the grandfather in the memories and the building as well. They're just watching over each other and spend their lives together. It was really sweet. But I love this movie. It's so much fun. Like there's a lot of like terrifying moments where you never know if they're going to get back. But towards the end, the hope starts to bring them back home, and it's just lovely. And if you love anime, if you love movies, if you love heartwarming movies, this will be perfect for you because it's one of those top tier heartwarming movies to watch. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on this movie. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. And until next time, I will see you all later.